As you may know by now, Max B is set to be released and come home this November. There's a lot of rumors circulating that the reason his early release is because he snitched. Well, I can prove to you that is not the case, and that is not true at all, and here's why. I'm Gongu Roach, a music publishing forensics expert, and here's why Max B is getting released early. I actually helped him. He was supposed to get the minimum of he was sentenced to the minimum of 33, 34 years from 2009. I think his eligibility was going to be at 2042. And because of my research and with help I participated, he's coming home early. Here's how it happened, right? Well, the attorney he had on hand to do his trial, Gerald Saluti, was highly incompetent to the point where it got back to me that the prosecutor and other people were kind of making fun of him for what he wasn't doing right during the trial. I could prove to you my early participation. If you can see paperwork, this is me talking to the attorney about helping out Max B way back in 2009. All right. And also in here, I got tons of documents, but I'm also reaching out to the record label. This goes into me reaching out to the record label, Amalgam Digital at the time, back in 2008, 2009, DJ Next, the record label he was signed to. And I was reaching out to them because Saluti was so incompetent, and we were getting together to get rid of Gerald Saluti to hire my attorney to take over his case to either beat the trial or I don't really remember if the trial already ended or something like that, but my lawyer was going to work on getting him out on a PCR, which is a post-conviction relief. That's what it was. So he already got sentenced, and my lawyer already knew how to, reverse the time and how to get him out on a post-conviction release. But my lawyer, according to this paperwork and all these documents I got here, I think my lawyer wanted $50,000 down, and I think $400 an hour. I saw that somewhere in here. Otherwise, he wasn't going to budge on helping Max out. Yeah, so here it is right here. I think you see right here somewhere it says $50K and $400 an hour. All right, just to let you know that I'm not BSing here. So basically, yeah, Joe Saluti, I think Jim Jones was using him first. I don't know what Jim Jones was using him for, but he was just an incompetent lawyer, wasn't doing the job right. And if you know Joe Saluti, actually here he is right here. He's the younger guy right here. And the other guy, the older guy, is actually the character that was an American Gangster that wouldn't take the money, that Russell Crowe played, Richie, I think Roberts. They got convicted for stealing money from a trust fund between 4 clients that they had, $140,000. So that happened to him a few years later after this Max B thing. So I guess the Richie Roberts guy wasn't so legit, because if you saw in the movie, he wouldn't take the money, and he took all the money and counted it in the room. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, so Max got convicted. So what happened was, for years, I was trying to help out and coordinate my attorney with the record label. The record label, I don't know if they really wanted to pay that type of money at the time to try to get Max out. And what happened was that Amalgam Digital sold Max B's rights to a company called Phase One Entertainment, which is controlled by Frank Babar. So I had my lawyer to talk to DJ Next over Amalgam Digital. Amalgam Digital was in the process of selling their rights to Frank Babar. So then I had to go and, reach out to Frank Babar, because my lawyer already had it down to a science how to get this guy out of jail. So mind you, this is all going through 2009, 2010, 2011. All this was going through, right? So if you see right here, 2011, I think we caught up to them again. And, my lawyer wrote a formal letter about how to get him out on the PCR, the post-conviction release. He he sent them some articles of how he beat some people, you know, some murder cases and stuff like that, along with that, you know, letter and stuff like that, introduction. And yeah, that part didn't go through. So we reached out to Amalgam Digital. In between time, I was reaching out to maybe some lawyers in the entertainment business, maybe a couple of rappers and stuff like that. And you know, while Max B's sitting in jail, these rappers are saying free Max B, but no one's looking into the case but me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nobody. I don't mean to diss like any of his friends or anything like that, but from my research or, you know, it never got back to me that anybody else was looking into it. So finally we got up with Frank Babar, and you know, my lawyer was offering his services once again. And what happened was that he listened to my lawyer, and instead he tried to hire one of his in-house lawyers. Well, he used one of his in-house lawyers to do what we mentioned. And instead of doing what my lawyer was going to do, which might have been more expensive, they just went against the attorney's competency and said he wasn't competent. And they reduced his time from, I guess, the 30-something years to the 20 years. So basically, I could read to you exactly what happened. And you could see this is what Max was sentenced to. This was everything that he was... you see there's 40 years here, 20 years here, a whole bunch of years here for whatever convictions he got hit for at the time, right? You can see all that. So this is what happened, right? So the PCR was filed by the attorney, was resolved not by the court decision, but an agreement to resentence to a lower manslaughter charge. Those lawyers did not challenge his guilt, which my lawyer would have. They argued that his lawyer was not competent and had conflicting interests while representing Charlie. They made an agreement to change the murder one, which was a 30-year sentence. The attorneys agreed to a max sentence of 20 years. By the nature of the offense, there was an 85% parole disqualifier, which means that you cannot be eligible for release until you serve the full 85% of the term. In this case, the new negotiated term is 20 years and the minimum parole eligibility time is 17 years. For Wingate, which is Max B, Charlie Wingate, that means that from the very first day he was in custody, 9/22/2006, September 22nd, 2006, he must serve 17 years before he goes before the parole board to ask to get out. The earliest time he can go before the board is 9/22/2023, September 22nd, 2023, which is his arrest date plus 17 years. There's also a problem with the board that inmates don't usually get board hearing dates on the actual first eligible date. Sometimes it's 6 months or 1 year later. So don't expect C. Wingate on the streets before late 2023 or 2024. Which he would have gotten out around that time, but I think he got caught with contraband around 2024, so he might have served another year. But this is, you know, something, once again, that my lawyer wrote. And yeah, he got caught with contraband sometime in 2024, maybe a cell phone or something like that. So he was supposed to get out last year, but, you know, things happen, right? So some other paperwork just to go through. So that's actually why Max B got his time reduced. I mean, these are facts. If anybody's saying anything different, I don't know nothing about no snitching, but it had nothing to do with how he got his time reduced. This is all the facts right here. And I think I did have some other paperwork around somewhere that during the time, let me see, during that time, he also, so, you know, he released a bunch of records around the time, but I do have some paperwork here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, so around that time, while he was locked up, he transferred his rights, his musical rights, over to Gerald Saluti, the attorney that I showed you on the computer. He transferred his musical rights over to Gerald Saluti, right? Back in 2010. I don't know if he owed him money or he was just collecting for him while he was locked up. I really can't remember. This is a long time ago. But I do remember that, okay, here's another letter of direction with my company on here in 2011 for me to collect Max B's royalties while he was locked up. This was through an attorney that I was dealing with at the time named John Jekulek. I think we got those rights reverted back to Max B around that time. But yeah, Gerald Saluti was a joke. And I'm not going to say people didn't trust him or anything like that, but that's just a case of him right there. That, yeah, so he was, you know, he had transferred his rights over musically over to Gerald Saluti. I really can't remember this 15 years ago. I really can't remember why, but he had control of Max's publishing catalog and artist royalty account, whatever account that he controlled. That's just the way it goes. But I think we got that resolved sometime. But, you know, Max gets out in November. I think he's going to be working at my people's studio. And my man Dame Grease is going to be, you know, doing some work with him, who produced a lot of stuff previously. And I hope to interview this guy. I spoke to Max when he was in jail about a year ago or so. And I guess he saw the Apartment 5H with DJ Self and Bianca, the host. He was aware that, you know, I helped him get out and helped him get his time reduced. And hopefully I'll be rewarded with an interview. You know, I think you'll want to see that, you know, me interviewing him, you know, about his turmoil and, you know, him sitting in prison, and about us trying to get him out. So hopefully that will happen in November when he gets out. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe. Just wanted to tell you this quick Max B story. He didn't snitch on nobody to get his time reduced. I mean, I got tons of documents proving different. If somebody doesn't believe me, email me. I'll just send you the documents. You know what I'm saying? And you can go through all 30, 40 pages here to see, you know, what really happened. All right? Once again, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you.